Okay, so we're doing Lecture 9, Complex Data Types, and we're going to talk about what are called structures. So in the last lecture we began discussing VB data types, and we talked about arrays. And we talked about declaring them and initializing them and resizing them and so on. So now we're going to talk about something called a structure. And so you need to do this in Visual Studio. So what you want to do is you want to create a new project. And then after you create the new project, you can see here, this is the name of the project. And he says right-click on your project name, I think right here, and you'll get a window like this. And you click Add here, and you get this menu here, and you click Add New Item. And from that, you're going to get a you want to call it customer.vb down here, and then click Add. And from that, you will get a new form, or a new class, actually, that looks something like this, except it says class here and class here. So to retype this, call it structure and structure. Okay? Now, suppose you want to have like a database. So by a database, let me just open up Excel. And so here's Excel. And suppose I had something like first name. So suppose I had something like this: first name, last name, age, and email. And so you want to, suppose you're a company and you want to keep a database of your customers. For example, suppose you're a car dealership and you're selling cars, and you have a bunch of customers. You want to keep data about them. So these are some of the things you'd like to record about each of your customers. Some other things you might like to record, maybe you'd like to record their income. If you had it, you might like to record like the date of last purchase. Maybe you'd like to have that. Maybe you'd like to have lots of different, you'd like to record lots of different information about your customer. So you might have your customer's first name might be Taro, and Suzuki would be maybe their last name, and they are 31 years old, and their email and their income and their date of purchase and everything else. Okay, and this is kind of like a database. And this would be useful for keeping track of all of your customers. So the question is, how could we go about achieving something like that in our program? So we want to record, we want to be able to have new customers and keep that same kind of information for each of our new customers. So what do we call this? The first name, the last name, the age, the email, the income, and so on. What are these? These usually referred to as, we usually refer to them as like characteristics about our customers, right? Their age, their email, their last name, their first name. Those are the characteristics of or the attributes of our customers. We can use the word characteristics. We can use attributes. Sometimes we say the fields or the properties of our customers, or the details about our customers, or sometimes the variables. Like this is actually a variable. Age is a variable. So we can say customer 1's age is 31 and customer 2's age is 28. This is also kind of a variable. Their last name is a variable. So the first customer's, the value of the variable for the first customer is Suzuki, and the value of the last name, I don't know what I just said, the value of the last name for the first customer is Suzuki, the value of the last name for the second customer is Higgins, the age of the value of the age variable, for the first customer is 31. The value of the age variable for the second customer is 28. Okay? So we can kind of use these words interchangeably. Just, these are just characteristics of our customers or properties of our customers or whatever. Okay, characteristics, all these different words, we can use them interchangeably. Now, in programming, they just make, actually they distinguish between this word and this word. But in general, we just use any of these words. Okay? So, how do we do this in our program in VB.NET? So we can do this. We can type in, so if we want to have the first name as one of the fields for customers, we can type in this. Now, public is just the accessibility. It could be public, it could be private. It has, if you call it public, it has one kind of effect, and if you call it private, it has a different effect. But anyway, we're going to call it public. And so we're going to have public first name, and first name is a string, right? We don't call that an integer, although age is an integer. Last name as string, age as integer, and email as string. And so what we're doing is basically we're setting up the same thing that we just set up in Excel. We're creating a space where then we can set, put in our first customer and say their first name is something, their last name is something else, their age is something else, and their email is something else. So we want to add this in. So add this into your code. You can pause this now and add it in. Add code for the customers for members. Now here he's calling them members. In other words, I called them characteristics, I called them properties, I called them fields, I called them... Anyway, here he's calling them members. Each will represent one structure instance attribute, so it's an attribute. And we will declare 3 strings and 1 integer, 3 strings and 1 integer. Control the visibility, public, of each of these by using the public keyword. Each will be accessible outside the structure's code, using the dot operator down here below this. So you can't see it, but it says using the dot operator. So we'll see what that means in a minute. So by doing that, we'll be basically setting up this, but for our program. That's how we'll kind of set this up for our program. Basically, we'll set this up so that we'll be creating space then to enter a new